Sportsman everywhere, I'm Jim Thomas. Right now we're off to the Gulf of Mexico and some exciting ling fishing. There'll be a thrilling bow hunting adventure in Africa with the black-maned lion. And then it's off to the Arctic and some fantastic char angling, so stand by, please.
Outdoor Classics with Jim Thomas. The most exciting fishing and hunting action on television for over 40 years. Come along with us now as we travel the globe and experience fabulous fishing and hunting the way you want it to be.
Nice to have you with us. Say, how many of you are familiar with the saltwater ling? Ever hear of it? Well, let me tell you, folks, if you ever encountered one, there's two big things you'll never forget about it. One is the incredible fight he'll give you, and two, the appetizing menu it provides at the dinner table. But as far as his battling qualities are concerned, come along with us and you'll soon see what we mean.
There's one thing an angler digs in a given locale. It's an abundance of game fish available for him to catch, if in fact his experience and equipment are adequate. The next prerequisite for a successful fishing jaunt is a fairly stable climate during most of the year. Well, most anywhere along the famous Texas Gulf Coast, these two factors exist. Add to that good accommodations, knowledgeable guys, the ability of recreation and industry to hit it off so well, and brother, you just can't miss. Anyway, here in the Brazos Fort, Texas area, smack dab in the Gulf of Mexico, knowing all of these things, I'm feeling pretty good this morning. This is quite a spot. And if what I'm going after offshore today cooperates, well, I'm going to be on cloud 9 before the day is done. Fact is, I'm going after big ling with light tackle. Brother, that's an angling challenge if ever there was one. Boy, it sure is beautiful this early in the morning. I can't think of anything I'd rather do at this hour than be heading out for a new fishing adventure. Oh, by the way, today I'll be angling with Pat Cox, a real pro from Houston, and veteran offshore charter boat skipper Doc Jones. Doc's built himself quite a reputation around these parts as a real fish getter. That's another reason why I'm so optimistic this AM.
One thing about him, you can always count on that big dude being on time for a fishing trip.
How you doing, Jim? Come on aboard.
Morning, Doc. How are you?
Just fine.
Hello, James.
How are you this morning, Pat?
I'm ready.
Doc, are we going to go after some of those ling today? Is this a good ling day, you think?
Yes, sir, if you got the luck. You know, it's 20% knowledge and 80% luck. I got the knowledge, and if you got the luck, we'll get by.
Hasn't changed a bit, has it?
No.
I have the tackle, so yeah, let's shove off, shall we, Doc?
We got
That's a deal. We'll get her underway and take off.
Doc informs us that we're going out about 25 or 30 miles and troll around the anchored shrimp boats. For ling, according to Doc, you can't work a better spot. It seems the shrimpers do all their netting at night. Just before dawn, they've finished their runs and have culled all the undesirables and tossed them back into the water. Then the crews relax during the daylight hours. Quite naturally, the droppings from the huge nets, in addition to the discarded fish, provide a royal banquet for sports fish of all shapes and sizes in the area. And among them are monstrous ling, one of the best eating and strongest battlers in the Gulf. Everything seems to be all set. Come and get it, Mr. Ling, and then, as if the call was heard, Pat's got one. And now a real tug-of-war begins. Pat's got his work all cut out for him, particularly on that light spinning tackle. I've seen tackle a lot heavier torn to ribbons by an infuriated ling. Believe you me, this is a real test for both the angler's skill and his equipment. Let's watch this. And to top it all, a sudden squall is rapidly descending upon us. The ling will have to be landed before that squall hits, or he'll be lost forever. Hang on, Pat, hang on. Oh, boy, look at the size of him. No wonder he fought so hard. Why, he's at least 50 pounds, and just because he's up near the boat doesn't mean that he still hasn't got a lot of steam left either. That's racing against time. At this point, it's questionable which will happen first, landing the ling or getting caught right in the middle of a squall. And this baby's creating somewhat of a squall of his own. Look at him pound that water. Even though this big bruiser is still plenty green, we've decided to chance gaffing him. But it's a foregone conclusion that mayhem can break loose once he's on board. The gaff is set. Oh, my aching back. Over the side comes 50 pounds of writhing fury. If he ever gets off that gaff, we're going to be in lots of trouble. It's taking all I've got to hold him. Ah, but a quick application of the old persuader, and it's all over. Now you know why the ling is rated tops as a great sports fish, huh? And talk about excellent eating. This fella is considered a real delicacy of the sea. It's a known fact that ling usually travel in pairs. Sometimes there's a whole pack of them on the prow. And oftentimes when one is hooked, others will follow right along with it until it's gapped. No one knows why, so Doc heads for the same spot. And it paid off almost instantly. And just get a load of this action. The drag is tightened down almost below the breaking point of the line. I had to do it, or the big ling would have spooled me on his first mad run. Our first glimpse of the monster confirms the fact that it's every bit as large as its predecessor. But finally, the gaff is set, and a very tired ling is brought on board. Just look at the size of him. Wow! Yes, a guy can certainly shake hands on this day. 2 50-pound ling on light tackle is all the sport any two anglers could ask for. The plain, simple truth is, one apiece of that size is enough. Well, sir, this is one to write home about. Out and back before noon with 2 beautiful lings. And as we pull into the pier, I know more than ever that this whole Brazosport area is an angler's paradise. No spot along the entire Gulf Coast can boast of any better fishing. And there's something else, too. One of the major contributing factors toward the success of any angling endeavor, regardless where it takes place, is the company you keep. Well, I had the best. So now I ask you, how could I possibly lose?
Yes, sir, and you can take my word for it, folks. We enjoyed eating those ling, too. Well, we've got a real thriller lined up for you next, but first, let's take a short break, okay? I've said it here before, and I'll be saying it again many times in the future. Any man who hunts his quarry with bow and arrow is, in our opinion, a sportsman in the truest sense of the word. And when a fellow handicaps himself thusly and still has the courage to go after a dangerous big game animal like an African lion, well, you can double that admiration.
The killer had left suitable clues behind this time, his tracks in the soft sand. We set out to follow. Char, our tracker, sprinted in front of our Land Rover, and sometimes it was tough for us on the four-wheeler to keep up with him. The going was rough in spots. The lion knew we were back there, trailing him relentlessly. We followed him for 3 days. Stopping, picking up his trail again each successive day, then moving on. Finally, on the third day, a fresh track. We were getting close. Pedro urged his trackers on. Each hunt for me has always had its own sense about it, right or wrong. For some unexplainable reason, I felt uneasy. Once we were sure we had picked up the trail again, Char moved off in front of us at a gallop. Suddenly, Char, frantic, pointed dead ahead. We had bayed the lion on a fallen tree, as tired as we were and angry that we had caught up with him. This was the moment. For me, for us all. My arrow struck him hard, a fatal shot in the lungs. But he didn't go down. He turned and charged. Pedro had got off that shot just in time. It had been the lion's life or mine or any other member of our party. But before Pedro had been able to level his rifle and fire, the lion had swiped at me, burying his claws into my arm. That lion knew that I was the one who had hurt him, and he had charged me with one thought in mind. This became the tragedy of the moment, and the shock of the lion's charge, his death, hung long over us that day. Here in Angola, as a last desperate measure, the backup gun was necessary. I still think of that moment to this day, and about the courage and power of that charging lion. Although in later years I was to face other moments of truth, nothing would compare with that terrifying charge of a most determined lion.
Well, what more can I say except we'll be right back. The Arctic char presents itself as a rather tough challenge to the sportsman for a number of reasons. First of all, a man has to travel a long way to reach char country, way up to or near the Arctic Ocean, and that costs money. Then when the enterprising angler finally reaches his destination, there's no guarantee that the char will be running. But on those occasions when things go right, there's nothing quite like it.
This is the Tree River country located north of Great Bear Lake in the Northwest Territory. This is a rugged land inhabited here and there with just a few bands of migrating Eskimos. It's a land that has little to offer anyone except the enterprising sportsman. But a surprising number of them flock to this area annually in quest of a magnificent fighter of the Arctic called the Char. It's a beautiful fish, fights like blazes when hooked, and take it from a guy who knows. It isn't often that you see them rolling on the surface like they are here in this swift Arctic stream. And if you think a char normally fights when hooked, well, brother, foul hook one in a dorsal fin, and you'll never forget the battle. It isn't often you can land one of these babies once it's foul hooked. But the net comes into the water, and out comes this beautiful Arctic char. And there, my friends, you have the char, a species that those who can afford it spend thousands of dollars and travel equally as many miles each season to latch onto. You can only take two. This happens to be a male char, and brother, that's mighty tough on the old fingers, too. Hang on, pal. The male char, as is the case with much of our wildlife, is more brilliantly and beautifully marked than the more drab-colored female. But either one is a prize to be remembered. The weather up in this part of the country is truly amazing. During the so-called night and in the early morning hours, a man has to bundle up to be comfortable. However, as the day progresses, it's not uncommon to strip down to your T-shirt in order to maintain any degree of comfort. Of course, on the other hand, when fighting a monster like this, it's not difficult for a man to work up a sweat. The world's record char is 27 pounds. The one you see being played here weighs 22. And on light tackle, oh, brother, 5 will get you 10. This fish is destined to end up on the trophy wall of his lucky captor. And well, it should, because just take a gander at one of the most beautiful fish of them all. Now, if you can take your eyes off that fish, you will notice in the background that there are no trees, which means that this group of anglers are fishing at least 300 miles above the timberline. Nothing up here but small shrubs and flowers. No timber whatsoever. But no time out for sightseeing around here. One more cast brings another char, and it looks enough like its predecessor to be its father, or its brother. It reached the point where these sportsmen who came so far to get a taste of Arctic char fishing, they had caught so many fish, they filed off the barbs of their hooks and released virtually everything they caught with the exception of the 2 they were allowed to take home. These waters are located only a few short miles from the Arctic Ocean, and there's no question that this guy has the 2 he wants to take home. The fishing season up in this part of the country is quite short, 4 to 5 weeks at the maximum. The rest of the time, the country is frozen solid. So, as the fellow says, you've got to make hay while the sun shines. Also, the Arctic char cannot be caught at random, as it would appear here. It comes into freshwater each year during the month of August, but only for a 10-day period. This could vary from August 1st to August 10th, or August 10th to August 20th, or, of course, from August 20th to the end of the month. So, it's a calculated risk. You have to be lucky to hit it at just the right portion of the 10-day period, during which time Mr. Char decides to come into fresh water. But with all indications, it would appear that these boys hit it right smack on the head. This is a heavy fish, as anyone can plainly see, and the amazing part of it is the fact that all or almost all fish caught are in excess of 10 pounds. Why, it's almost like perpetual motion. Yes, sir, there are smiles to spare on this fishing expedition. From where we sit, it would appear that almost every cast nets a fish. These fish, once they're located, strike almost at will. But how long you keep them on is a horse of a different color. Only about 1 or 2 out of 7 or 8 hooked are landed. And of course, when you take a look at that whitewater and the size of the fish that are involved, it's easy to understand why many of them get away. And of course, when a man is working on the second half of his limit of 2, and he has one that will almost break the world's record, it's easy to understand why excitement runs high. In this case, it would seem that the net is just too small, and then everybody gets into the act, including the fisherman, who becomes so alarmed over the fact that his prize might escape that he promptly got rid of his rod and reel. Ah, but all's well that ends well, and certainly this trip to the Arctic could not have been more successful. Nice going, fellas.
Well, there's very little to add to that trip, wouldn't you say? Back in a minute. A little late today, folks. Time to say thank you for being with us, and so long and best of luck to you all.